All right, so welcome, Scott Brown from the Rotary Club of Columbus, Ohio, the executive director. So, starting this spotlight to tell us a little bit about you and what's happening to your club during this pandemic. And so, you're taking your Rotary meetings online. You're Zooming.
Yeah, we've been Zooming since, I think we only canceled one meeting. So we've been Zooming since mid-March. We canceled one meeting and had to dump our second meeting real quickly because we got Zoom bombed. But that's not family-friendly conversation, so I'll just leave it there. But we dumped that call and jumped on about a half an hour later with the same number of people. So it was um, learning experience, but it's been great ever since.
Great. Well, so tell us, you've got some great speakers coming up. That's working really well to get a lot of virtual speakers.
Yeah, and it's almost easier right now to get virtual speakers because they don't, we are a noon club on Mondays. And a lot of people we were running into we were having trouble scheduling them when we actually have our meeting. Right now, being able to schedule people from all over the city that can interact with us through Zoom is working. And now we're also reaching well outside of the city to pull in some other speakers.
Yeah. And are you doing some after hour type things, or you got one in person you're trying?
You mean events
Like a park?
wise?
You mentioned a park.
Yeah, I did. This morning we had our first taste of getting back together, and there were about a half a dozen of us. There's a group that meets on the third Thursday of every month in the morning for coffee and breakfast at a local golf course. We moved that event outside today. I know it's not the third Thursday and it's a Friday, but that we're recording this. But it was our first gathering physically of well, maybe our second since June of a group of Rotarians. And I encouraged that because as many of my members who are not comfortable coming out at this time, I also have to meet the needs of the people who are comfortable coming out at this time. So we're trying some small things. Ohio is under a 10-person limit in groups of any kind doing that. So everything that we're doing, like this morning for coffee in the park, sitting in our chairs, is going to be 10 people or less.
Yeah, yeah. And so how did you get started in Rotary? What got you into this job?
What got me into this job, or what got me into Rotary? I was a Rotarian before I took on this job. So I've been in Rotary for about 18 years now. My dad was, like a lot of us, my dad was a Rotarian. A new club was forming in town by a guy I worked with. When I joined that club at the age of, I think, 35 or 37, I was one of the old guys in the club because the average age was 32 at the time. Fast forward about 5 years, and the opportunity to work as the executive director of Columbus Rotary came up, and I jumped at it, thinking I could put my professional talent and link that to my personal passion, and that's what I've been doing for the last 12 years. So.
Great. Well, you're a wonderful source of information. I can always call you and say, Scott, how are you guys doing this? And then I end up with all these like notes of things to try and think about. So your sons are home right now. What's happening for the fall for them?
Yeah. So, well, one son has recently moved out with his now fiance. I'm trying to think of dates now. Not much more than a month ago, my oldest son asked his girlfriend to marry him, and they are planning a October 2021 wedding. Surprisingly, the dad of the groom started with the bride telling her that she had to find a location and she had to ask these questions. And she's like, "Why are you telling me all this stuff?" I said, "Because event management, that's what I do once
Yeah.
a week. I interact with event centers." So that was kind of fun working with her. My youngest son is preparing to go back to college in South Florida. They are going to have classes. It's kind of a hybrid model. And he just got his, I think, third and final room assignment for the year. He's been told he's living in 3 different places, and I think this one's the final yesterday. So we're kind of just preparing to figure out how to get him down there and get all his stuff down there, and what the rules are on who can help people move in and people move out and all that stuff. So that'll be, I think he moves in August 20th. So we're, this will be the first time that my wife and I will be empty nesters, because when he went off to college before, my older son was living at home with us. So now that he's moved out and the college kid goes off to school,
The dog's going to get a lot of attention, right?
both dogs, yes. And I will only be third in line of who gets the attention in the house once my son moves out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's exciting that they go off, but yeah, you guys have been so close knit. We've all been close knit in the house, and now
It is, and it's the other kids they only live about 5 minutes away, so they're over for dinner a couple times a week. We're a very tight knit family, not just the Browns, but my wife's family as well. So we see a lot of each other. Tight knit neighborhood too. So it's going to be a little different for us. This whole COVID thing has been difficult on people like the Browns, who are fairly social butterflies, and have to kind of back off of how much of that we're doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for just taking a few minutes out, and we'll share this with everyone else. And it's good to kind of hear what other clubs are doing, how we all got involved in Rotary, and then something personal too, so that when we do get back together, we can have a lot to talk about.
Well, and I appreciate you doing this, Anna. I think it's important that the executive directors learn from one another. I was just sharing with you that one of our newer executive directors has been walking me through a couple things and helping me. And I thanked her for that yesterday, just because I've been here 12 years doesn't mean I have all the answers. So leaning on each other is, I think, is really important right now.
Yeah, it's a great network, and we've got to keep sharing our best practices. So what's working and what's not too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Have a good day.
All right. See ya.